right now.
All righty, live.
And I am now
Almost live.
I'm live.
Awesome. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another UniteDeFi Roundtable. We've got an excellent panel with us this evening. Before we get started, I would like to go ahead and give that like and subscribe button some love for me if you can, if you're watching this live or after the event. It really helps the algorithm altogether, gets this information that we discuss out to more people, and really helps just generate the buzz around these events. Every time we have one, progress gets made between projects. So we want to keep on having them, and we want to keep on growing the community and get this information to in front of as many people as possible. Take a moment, hit the like, subscribe. Let's get this thing going. All right, I'm going to let everybody go ahead and introduce themselves real quick. I'm going to start with myself. My name's Chris Ginn, Meta Captain, MetaBusdCoin. We are a BSC token project that works within VR, developing infrastructure for other projects. Leanne, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you very much, Chris. I'm Leanne, I'm CEO of Meta Arcade. We are a BSC play-to-earn game that aims to go cross-chain as well. We're so much more than a play-to-earn game, and I'll get into that later on. But yeah, we're all about having fun and blowing stuff up.
I love that. We're all about having fun and blowing stuff up. All right, Worldwide Crypto.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight? I'm Dragon Rider. I am one half of Worldwide Crypto. Blibbers couldn't be here tonight due to family stuff, but yeah, I'm here. YouTuber, content creator.
Did you say your name was Dragonfire?
Dragon Rider.
Sounds like a biker gang name.
It is. Sweet. I kind of want to join his gang now. Just immediately. CryptoAtlas.
Hello, everybody. I am an influencer on YouTube. I cover a variety of passive income projects. I'm very happy to be here. I've been on quite a few of these. I don't know, Chris, have I been on every one of these?
You have been on every single one that we've had.
Woo! I should get like a special pin or something, you know, a special role in Discord, that whole kind of thing. No, but thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, absolutely. I don't. At this point, it'd be hard to imagine having one without you. You're the one person I know for sure will be there. Even Kevin's gonna leave me next week. Speaking of Kevin,
hi. Kevin, CEO and developer for BusdBuffet. BusdBuffet is a deflationary BUSD reward token that uses a portion of our buy and sell tax to fund the buying and portional selling of other tokens. We use those proceeds to buy back our own token and either burn them or use them to supplement the staking pool, increasing the volume rewards and the LP.
You always say that so fast, just like it's like it's no big deal. I just run through it. EJ, EverReflect.
What up, guys? EJ, team lead for EverReflect and soon EverTix. My favorite character on the Skinwalker Ranch show on History Channel is also named Dragon.
I love that show.
Nice. Is that show about the ranch that's like in, what is it, Nevada, I guess?
Utah. Brandon Fugel, ironically, one office above the Safe Moon office in the building.
Yeah, it's only a few. It's actually very close to their location. But yeah, all kinds of paranormal activity. We probably should talk about that one night as opposed to crypto, because there's a lot of things that happen. You know, weird radiation and skinwalkers, obviously. So didn't mean to deviate, but Worldwide Crypto, you threw me down that path, and Curse of Oak Island obviously ended that this week with a huge disappointment. But we could also discuss that.
Wait. You mean like they're done?
Season finale, but
okay. Good.
Don't even get me going. Don't even get me started.
Oh, wow.
Curse Oak Island.
As long as they still got more seasons, I'm okay.
Let's go with Jeff from ShillX.
So I'm Jeff. Yeah, so I guess I'm really here because like I really want to help communities grow. So ShillX is really a utility that's designed like it's really about building communities and rewarding projects. So we're technically an affiliate platform for now. That's what people know us for. But ultimately, we're going to be launching and commoditizing most of the kind of common utilities in the space. Really for two reasons. One, well, I guess three reasons. I guess the first is our goal is to stop like this like let's all produce the same stuff mentality and focus on more innovation in the space because I'm tired of seeing the same utilities launched over and over again. So let's just make them easy and free so that nobody has a reason to not use ours because we're not going to charge any fees. Secondarily, like we want to make sure that like you know that the communities themselves have an opportunity to provide an upside for the evangelism that they do to help these communities, these projects to actually grow, which is why we have the affiliate platform. And then lastly, you know, we want to, just really kind of create and unify DeFi by allowing projects to be able to work together towards common goals and ultimately, you know, really focus on bettering the space and be able to do that more quickly by not having to focus their attention on building like foundational stuff for their projects. So that's a little bit about ShillX.
Don't worry, we're definitely going to be jumping right back into ShillX in just a moment. I want to make sure everybody who's on the roundtable right now, if you could, do me some love and send a tweet out or contact your community. Sorry, however you want to let them know that we're live. Ace, are you able to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am. My fault, brother. I got caught in a little traffic. I was just telling Jeff a second ago that I would be in as soon as I could. But yeah, man. What are we just introducing ourselves here? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, just introduce yourself and your project. Just a quick moment, and then we're gonna go around to like just talking and some questions and stuff.
Perfect. My name is Ace, and I am the CEO of Enhance. Listen to Jeff, you know, pretty common goals here with us as well on the different side of things. We want to, plain and simple, make an impact, and that impact be to enhance DeFi and the crypto space as a whole. What I think we've been able to achieve here over the course of our time is to prove that we have the team. We have the knowledge, we have the instruction manual of how to persevere through this tough space that we're all in, of trying to gain trust, trying to gain loyalty, trying to show leadership, trying to, you know, reach one, teach one, and trying to unify and bring together all the communities. And our plan for the future is to be able to do just that by teaching other communities, other teams that have tokens or projects, how to duplicate what we've been able to achieve over the past, 7-8 months.
Very cool. Love your enthusiasm. I love some of the key words you always use every time you talk, though. You know, reach one, teach one, stuff like that. He uses these like key little words that are just they resonate real fast. It's like somebody who obviously is trying to actually practice that, you know, so because you're using it in your everyday vernacular, so it just comes out so easily. So
he's a vocab king, man. He's a rapper. He has to be good with vocabulary.
Chill out.
I did see that rap.
Is he really a rapper?
Let's save that for another roundtable, fellas. Let's get back to the mission at hand.
It's like that. You gotta give us some bars.
It's just going to devolve into a rap battle. Toad's a rapper too, if you didn't know.
Actually, since we're going to talk about it, yeah, I mean, I do that on a professional level. I do battle on a professional level. I'm on a league roster out of Atlanta. That league roster is John the Don's league called Bullpen Battle League. Haven't battled in a couple years. I really just do it because I like competition. I don't ask for no money off of it or nothing like that. I mean, I ain't nobody to ask for no money, period. But I like to get in there and have gentlemen's competition with words, as they must say.
So I guess that's probably where your energy comes from too. Because I think everybody who's on stage tonight was on stage the night that you came to the ShillX meeting. What was that? Probably a week ago now. Um, and the energy that you put forth that evening was a game changer for me and my mentality in general. Like, I felt like I was missing something all of a sudden. I felt like I was broken all of a sudden out of nowhere. I was like, what's going on here? I need to straighten my life up and do something differently.
Now, listen,
Yeah.
man. Listen, you're right, and that's what I'm so excited about. I've got this keynote speaking position at the NFT Expoverse at the LA Convention Center in the end of July. If you guys feel the energy, if you can feel the positive vibes through a Twitter space, wait till I'm on stage, on a main stage in front of a few thousand or more people, and y'all get to feel that stuff in real life. So, man, if anybody can come out at the end of July to the NFT Expoverse at the LA Convention Center, man, please do.
Fingers crossed, I'll be there.
Let's go. And if you do want to check out what the energy looks like and feels like in real life, man, I can, you can go on YouTube and search Ace Boogie VS, as in Ace Boogie versus, or Chasing Glory versus, and you'll see some battles. You'll see what kind of energy I can give off in real life, man. Just watch.
All right. So to jump into everything tonight, I thought I'd open it up with something that we almost never talk about in this space. We never talk about we do talk about down markets and how we push through utility and stuff like that, but I kind of want to talk about the down market and how it actually affects the economy as a whole, not just with our specific projects, but just the entire DeFi space. And I mean that applicable to influencers, into project services, as well as what I like to call social currency, which is like the actual engagement level that we see from our communities. I know that like my personal community right now, and as well as many of the communities that I'm involved with, they have a lower engagement level right now, due to the fact that there is less traction within the actual chart and therefore the project itself. And I think that's due to like a disparity level that comes from the like investor, like like they're down, like they're down financially, so they're down emotionally as well. And is there anything that you guys reflect on or do during these moments to try to like kind of combat that? Does anybody want to take this question?
I'll jump in. I think I used to talk about this quite a bit actually at the beginning of EverReflect, and especially post launch, because everybody kind of knows that we had some record setting launch days and then a couple of hard weeks right after. But the conversation always turned back to adversity and the concept that like you can learn the most through your trials, and like it really helps you to focus on your mindset and what you're going to be doing during those tough times, that I think that you can actually really refine your goals, refine your focus. For us, I know with our team specifically, we have taken every advantage of making sure that we're basically increasing our assets when it comes to like a lot of the in-house, whether it be software, whether it be equipment, whether it be any of the technology for our websites, for any of the development stuff. And then working our butts off during this period is actually a huge benefit that if you look at community engagement in two ways. One, it's beautiful because obviously it gets a lot of people, trading and holding and all that kind of stuff. But as we all know, community engagement is also a double-edged sword as far as the time commitment and how often you have to be in chats, how often you have to be in certain AMAs, how many times you have to actually like be engaging. And we've had a long discussion with our team and especially our devs, Noodles and Manuel and a couple of the guys that are working behind the scenes, that like, hey, let's take this time to build stuff. Let's take this time to work our butts off, because we might not get this opportunity again where everybody else is kind of like sitting on the sidelines like, oh, woe is me. We're not, none of the revenues coming in, none of the marketing wallets are going up, none of that kind of stuff. From our standpoint, it's like, all right, time to kick butt, time to learn new stuff, time to take advantage of what we can, because the other aspect of this space is that stuff that was new 6 months ago is old. So even stuff that was 3 months old that you're like, now it's like commonplace. So we're really trying to take advantage of the time that not that we have time off from the community, but we're definitely engaging differently because there's less community engagement. So then dialogue between us working is definitely increased.
So specifically, just to interject there with your community, do you address the down market, or do you just work through it and kind of just like work around it?
Certain community members, usually when it becomes a dialogue, I mean, you guys know that we're very prevalent in Telegram more than we are in Discord and in Twitter, but we have taken this time that we're going to try to make a very strategic move to be in Discord more often. A lot of the conversations go one-on-one when it starts getting into down market stuff, because say it's a large holder of EverReflect, they don't necessarily want to come in and be like, hey, so, I'm thinking about this other project, or because of the fact that I lost, the last 3 months, I can't remember the number of times I've heard this, like every trade I've made the last 2 or 3 months has just been a sour bet. Like it's just, even the good ones have been bad. And so, yes, I do engage with it, but then you guys kind of know me personally. So it's like, I always try to re-inject of like positive mindset. Like, how can you come through this? What are the advantages of the price of BNB right now that we can take advantage of, whether that's swapping BUSD for BNB, whether that's like the ideas that we've had with like our market cap to liquidity ratio is super solid. So let's hold off on which was a great suggestion from you and Kevin, about like, let's pause our burn right now so that we're not actually impacting the market cap going down anymore. What else can we do to kind of re-energize and keep the health of the token safe, and why we're doing it? Like we've always tried to push, here's Excel spreadsheets, here's different information about what this means, why this math is important, why you should watch the BNB on PooCoin versus the market cap on PooCoin, or at least have a very good working knowledge of both of those. That's what we try to emphasize.
Actually, go ahead, Kevin. Sorry, point the wrong way.
No worries. For us, it was kind of interesting because part of what we were doing from the start was trying to design something that would be able to work just as well in a bear market as in a bull market. And then we launched, and it was like bear market. So we got a chance to see how this works. So we have utilities running on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays that are doing those sells. It pumps a little bit of volume, and during the week, and then on Fridays we have our big event. So for us, it's engaging our community, like EJ saying. We try to do a lot around those events to just try to highlight the positives and keep people talking. Like say, as far as talking about, everybody is feeling a down market. So without dwelling on it, we definitely talk about it, and it's almost therapeutic to a point, because everybody is feeling the same thing, but they can actually express it and hear somebody else. It's kind of a big thing just to hear somebody else say to you, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I feel that too.
Well, and obviously specifically with your token, at least from what it sounds like, you have a community buffer of, yeah, y'all can discuss a down market and your token still performing the way it's supposed to in that down market. Therefore, so it's not as negative as a conversation, as it would be, for instance, with my community. So if we're discussing a down market, we're discussing my market being down too. It's not just, BNB that's hitting it. If BNB takes a hit, I almost always take a hit, versus BNB taking a hit, but BusdBuffet having a distribution event that day and not taking a hit from that BNB. So that's you have that buffer to be able to openly talk about it. And for instance, I still openly discuss anything going on with my market, because y'all know me, I micro focus on economy, but that's just an easy thing to point out.
Yeah.
Other perspectives, people?
Can I add one other thing real quick?
Yeah.
I also like to bring up the some of us that have been around, not so much BSC, but I was with the Bitcoin stuff a lot more in 2016, 2017. And I felt like the dude that's on that commercial where like, you know, mid 2017, my Bitcoin was up and it was like $15,000 a coin. And I'm like, I'm rich. And then, you know, like a year later in 2018, 2019, that thing dropped back down to $3,000 a coin. So mentally, I think it's good to share some of the history of it. And I've said that before, that I really appreciate the people that have not necessarily that have been around for so long, but people that do know the history of markets and with cryptocurrencies and in different aspects of blockchain, because the history is really important, I think, as well, because we're so new, but we've had a lot of history in a short number of years.
Speaking of history, you know what my wife just asked me to buy her? She just asked me to buy her a Moondog. I swear on my life.
I thought about buying a Moondog too. I actually kind of like them. And I'll definitely share my wallet because I don't give a fuck. But
chill out.
If I can add into this, I would say that I think it's during times like these where we're in a bear market where people become hyper focused, and this is where the birth of innovation really starts to emerge. This is where the biggest challenges are presented. People get comfortable, and when you're comfortable, you don't make changes. Change is scary. If things are working really well, why would you want to change anything? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the old saying, right? So if you're in a circumstance where everyone is not putting money into projects, at some point you're like, okay, they're going to put it into something. But even when it's down, what if I could still make this work? Or even worse, if it's affecting you so massively as, let's say, developers, I'm sure you look at this and you're like, man, I really don't want my project to crash all the way into the ground. I can see the prices going down, whales are panicking, all this kind of stuff. What can we change? What can we do better, right? Those are the serious questions, and people become hyper-focused, and they say, we need to start working on these things right now. The delivery on those projects may not come during a bear market. They may come during a bull run, right? But the actual gears turning, putting a lot of the time and the energy towards being innovative is where I think we see some of the greatest inventions in mankind's history really start to come into play. So with the bad comes good. The glass is always either half empty or half full. It's depending on the perspective you have, how you really look at all of this, right? But I think that there is a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that people haven't seen yet that's going to be absolutely beautiful. It's going to be so beneficial to this industry space. It's going to make a lot of people very wealthy. And just overall, it's going to move society forward. So it sucks seeing the price be down. It sucks seeing people be mad. But you know what? Things are getting done. Even though people don't see it, things are getting done right now.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I just wanted to touch on that too. You know, it all depends on your community as well, and the people that are, you know, especially like after you've launched and you're pretty established. Most of your investors that are still in there are, you know, most of your long-term, you know, holders and stuff like that, and those are some of your more veteran holders in crypto as well. And you know, so you just kind of the transparency is the biggest key, because as long as you're continuing to be honest and say, hey, you know, here's, you know, the market's down, here's what's going on, but you guys continue to highlight the great things of your project and continue to highlight, you know, all the going ons to that's moving the project forward. You know what I'm saying? Because your biggest holders are going to be there for the long run. And you know, some of the guys that was just in there to, you know, they invested their $20 and they was hoping to turn it to $20,000. They're gone. You know what I'm saying? Those are not the ones you want in your project in the first place. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, definitely, you know, transparency is key from what I've been seeing. I've been in many different chats. I mean, you'll see me all over the place, man. And most of your people that are there for the project are asking like legit questions, not when Moon, when Lambo. You know, they're asking legit questions like, hey, what's going on with the project? You know, how are you guys moving things forward? And I see in all of you guys' projects, man, that somebody's always there to say, hey, this is what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And I really think that's crucial to keep a project moving and to keep it going.
I'm going to piggyback on that real quick with exactly like what you said, the $20 people versus your long-term investors, right? It's like, and shout out to whoever's cat that is in the background, man. I got cats too, so shout out to them. You know what I'm saying? Keeping it 100. I got cats too. No, listen, $1,000 clients, is there a discount? $100,000 clients, where do I write the check? Two different kinds of people, right? So, and then to go back on the original topic here, what we've tried to implement, because we do realize it's a bear market. Everything is down. Everything. It doesn't. I mean, you know, you can look at the Atlas was made a good point there. Like, if you look at the long graph of all these things that have been out many years, they look very similar. They all look very similar. So, what we've tried to do is implement, because I came from a business side, is I've tried to implement outside resources and let these people get things, and like, for instance, our merch, our energy drinks, the solar company that we've started, you know what I'm saying? All these things, a portion of that revenue from all those businesses on the outside go back into Enhance as an ecosystem. So there's multiple ways to continue, and that's what, you know, one of our main projects in the future is automation. Is our solar powered mining operation that we're going to use. We're going to buy the solar panels from our own company. There's a double win right there. We're working on a couple of contacts with the miners, and all that green energy that's going to produce free crypto for the most part is going to go back into our ecosystem every single day. So there's ways to it doesn't matter if there's a bear or a bull market, or, you know what I'm saying, a bear market or a bull run, whatever. If you can find ways, and that's what I want to try to help do, is because I came into the crypto space as, you know, as just a business guy that was really fascinated by all these things that was going on. And I've been able to shift that and find out through trial and error what works, what you can bring over from the real business world into this crypto space, and how they can intertwine together. So I think there's lots of ways, no matter what kind of market you're in, you can find ways to give back to your ecosystem and give your investors and your holders something to look forward to.
I'm gonna give shout outs to a couple people real quick. Shout out to GNL. I can't ever remember their name because I'm a terrible human being. I think it's Green Life Energy. Am I correct there? Yeah. Okay. They were like one of the very first projects to come on here. I was just telling Jeff about them. Great project, great little setup. I think you would get along with their CEO so well.
I get along with everybody, brother. I get along with everybody. I don't need no problems, and nobody want no problems. So I get along with everybody.
Let me link you two together, because they're doing a lot of work. They're doing a lot of work in like the saving the trees and stuff like that. So like it'd be like a really cool collaboration. Leanne, I'd like to just hear your take on this. I know your community is a little bit younger, but I know your entire platform's built around community engagement.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're doing?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, we're all in the same position. The market's not great. We are very community focused. I'm always available. I talk with, I don't care if you're a $20 holder or if you're a $20,000 holder, I'll give you the same time and information and respect, no matter what you're holding in my community. Yeah, I know some people are thinking, well, I've not made 100 times in a week, I'm away on to my next big thing. That's absolutely fine. That's what to do. That's why your tax is 8% buy and sell. You know, we're not one of these don't sell, diamond hand, sell. Go, you know, you'll come back. I've got lots planned. Our game is live, and it's a great resource that we have. Worldwide Crypto has played our game quite a lot, and it actually keeps the community engaged. It's a great, you know, we've got it in the Telegram bot, we've got a web version, Google Play, Microsoft Store version, and in this sort of market, players just love to play a game. You know, have a bit of fun and earn some money while you're doing it. We do create events now. We actually, because obviously I love Chris, we done a little Meta BUSD token create event where my players played to collect his token to then come and check out his project. And players love doing it. Create events, and my own create events, we give away BUSD, NFTs, upgrades for our game, and people love it. It's like Christmas Day. You know, people don't want BUSD. There's not many times where you can say in a project where people are under like, oh, I only get $15 BUSD in each crate. I wanted an NFT. I wanted an upgrade for my ship, because then they'll take that into the next tournament and they'll continue to play. So I think we're very lucky that way, that my community know we're long term. We've only been live just over 2 months now, and they know I have big plans for the game. The game just now is a top-down arcade game, blow stuff up, have fun. It gets extremely addictive, and you want to beat that next guy in the leaderboard. And it takes you back to that 80s, 90s. Anyone who played Galaga, Genesis, any of these games, it takes you right back to there. But yeah, we're extremely lucky that our community are just like, yeah, you keep doing what you're doing, and we'll keep playing the game. And in this market, I love the Unite DeFi spaces, because I want projects to come on board. I want you to come get your own planet, get your community to come play my game too, you know, and then your community can earn, they can come and play on all my planets and earn money as well. Because at the end of the day, we're here to earn money, but we're also here to have a bit of fun. You know, I'm a gamer at heart, and that's what games should do. And as I said, I'm extremely lucky. I've got a great community.
Is Dragon Rider really playing like that?
Oh hell yeah, yeah. He's in there all the time.
Look, I'm gonna tell you. I tell you what, when like if I'm having like a stressful day at work and I catch me a break, I swear, hey, I'm on it.
Look, I want to let you know you're about to have some serious competition. I'm like, I love this idea and I love this concept, and I think you can ask Leanne. I've hit the ground running with it. I've contacted as many people as I can about this. I'm about to blow this thing up. We're gonna get as many projects listed on Meta Arcade as possible, and we're gonna have these huge Unite DeFi tournaments. And
I've done put a few of my friends on too on it too. I don't think they've actually went out and bought any of the NFTs yet. But as far as like the free to play, hey, they're on it too, and they're like, yeah, maybe I should put a little bit. I said, you better, because you ain't gonna keep up with me, because my ship's pretty badass.
This is the thing, you know, there's not many play-to-earn games out there that let you play the game for free. You can play my game in any planet. I'll give you a free drone, and you can blow stuff up all day long. There's no time period. There's nothing like just blow stuff up, because at the end of the day, we all have rubbish days. We all like have those days where you just want to scream. And instead, I have a level. It's called Bog, and it's basically you blow up the PooCoin asteroids and the Pancake Swap monster, because we all know we've had issues with them, you know. So, and every project who comes to me, you know, this is my other side of it, that my projects are all linked. So if you go to that project's planet, it has their chart, it has the ability to buy from Bogged Finance, and because your wallet's connected, because you have your ships. Because at the end of the day, we are a play-to-earn game, and if you want to earn in my game, you have to have a ship, and you have to hold 25 BUSD of my token. Now, that's not a lot in play-to-earn games. You look at some other games out there, you're putting out $600-700 before you're getting a chance to play. We do have expensive ships, I'm not going to lie. I think our most expensive ship just now is around about $300. But I loved at the weekend. Anyone who knows me, I love the Flaming Cruiser. It's 0.14 BNB. It's my favourite ship as a gamer. As CEO of Meta Arcade, I should be probably telling you to buy the $300 ship. But that 0.141 is awesome. And all 5 players in our tournament at the weekend won with a Flaming Cruiser. The $300 destroyer got destroyed. And I absolutely loved that fact. I loved it, because I want people to come and play. And obviously want you to buy more ships, and obviously want you to upgrade your ships. But I want you to do that because you're getting tokens, you're getting BUSD, and you're doing that from your rewards. You know, nobody's wanting to go and spend $1,000 right now on some ships for a game.
Does anybody recognize Andrew? Like, does anybody know whose community this guy came from?
No. I have not got my glasses on.
Whoever's community this person came from, good for them. Good for that project.
I'll
Good for
claim
that.
it. I'll claim him.
And
I'll claim him again.
I'll
You know
claim
what
him.
I'm saying?
You
He
know,
came
just
up, you
wouldn't
know what I'm
question
saying?
you.
Hey, I claim him.
I just one of those things where I strongly have always felt like the tone is set at the top, and like when everything is applied properly through transparency, communication, then your community's expectations and education will rise to the occasion. And you will be able to have like the properly biased community, if that makes sense. So
Mhm.
whoever this guy came from, like that's absolutely right. At the end of the day, uh, I bet EJ's like, come over to my community now. But yeah, because at the end of the day, that's really what a lot of it for most of us really boils down to. You know, it's not the case for everybody. Like, obviously, I could see an economy where, like, Leanne from Meta Arcade, for instance, that doesn't necessarily need a strong, like, real world utility for that economy to work. As long as there's strong project collaboration and there's strong fun availability of the game. People enjoy playing it. They get entertainment from that. You're trading that value for that entertainment, and that's what that ecosystem is. And that ecosystem works just fine. You've got a situation like Kevin from BUSD. They've got an ETF situation that works just fine. That's the economy. That is the real world use case. It is a investment platform for a crypto space. But a project like EverReflect, EJ, it is literally built and based upon bringing in that outside revenue and running it through that crypto platform. So I wouldn't say that like every BUSD project needs that real world use case utility like we all think about it. Like, because we like to think like, oh, crypto adoption only makes sense when you can actually buy things with it.
Right.
That's not necessarily the case, but I do understand where investors' point of like their mindset comes from. I don't know where I'm going with this, other than Andrew, I like you, bud. You know?
Hey, Leanne.
But thank you to Andrew and then Chris, thanks for actually highlighting that, because it is true. And it goes back to, months ago, I remember a conversation with another gentleman of a similar name, Mobile Trades, and we were chatting about utility. And the concept to me was, why do this unless there's some logical way that you can explain how this is truly a utility token? And especially when it comes up to like outside officials and regulation, like we've tried harder than most, hopefully, to make sure everything's in line, that this is a utility token. We talk about how it's traded and that there's holders, and we don't use certain terms. And we're trying to build a whole platform for the ticketing, live entertainment industry based on that. So getting that additional knowledge out to a lot of people, that like, some of us are busting our butts to try to make sure utility isn't just kind of this like flash in the pan, cool term, that, oh, well, they're coming out with utility. And what's your utility called? It's called, pink dinosaur dragon. Like,
ShillX, this is your moment to step in, bud.
right.
Jeff, this is your moment to speak.
No, I just trying to soak it all in, and you know what I mean. Like I think at the end of the day, well, there's a few questions that were posed here, but at the end of the day, it's utility can be whatever you want to make of it. Like utility, we see in the NFT community, utility is as simple as just access, right? And so like on this panel as an example, like we have real world utilities, we have games, we have hedges, right? Like we have metaverses, we have community access, which is like with like what Enhanced is doing, right? And like and where they're going to create their scarcity and utility around that. So I think like it can be anything. I think the beginning of this conversation was really focused around like how do we hedge against like kind of down market, which obviously utilities for that, but also like how do we like make sure that like there's with BusdBuffet and others, like there's great utilities to hedge against that. But like at the end of the day, it really comes down to like the biggest thing about a down market is that people are gonna have higher expectations, and it's amazing. I look at a like akin to the housing market, right? Like all of a sudden, you know, the bubble pops and everybody's terrified and nobody wants to buy anything. And then all of a sudden the market starts exploding again. And now everybody's over leveraging themselves to buy homes. Like the same thing's going to happen here. Right. And, you know, but the cool thing about it is like, we're going to see a big shift in the quality of projects that make it, whether it's the quality of the community or the quality of the utility or just the innovation. So that's what I find probably most exciting. The other thing is like, you know, I love what Leanne's doing. And I love what you're doing, Chris, in terms of like really pushing the UniteDeFi component, because like, you know, I can tell you right now that like, you know, I find it like unfortunate that like we see so many projects on all of the different chains that like have massive projects that are doing, you know, big volume on a daily basis, and yet like they didn't do much impressive. They just had the right time at the right market and probably the right influencers. And you know, I think that like we're at a stage where we're going to see consolidation happening. We're already seeing it. Like I actually helped was negotiating with Vault and another project, not the one that actually acquired them. You know, because I think that, you know, that like there are projects that aren't going to stand the test of time because of whatever reason, early drama or whatever. And like that consolidation is going to be really critical. And at the end of the day, like, you know, I think we're probably going to ultimately see some kind of SPAC equivalent, and I'm using that term in general, not financially, but you know, where we're going to see projects start to merge, right? And we're going to see like a lot of the overlap combined forces, because like if we want to take on the giants in the space, we have to be willing to accept that we can't do it all on our own. And so with that being said, like that's why, you know, we're so focused on doing that, like what we're doing, which is like let's give an incentive for people when asset, like, or excuse me, I'm using the wrong terms again. When tokens are underperforming, like how do we set them up to be able to be rewarded and benefit from their evangelism? How do we set up the projects to be able to focus on that thing that's really going to take them to the stratosphere? Because I'll tell you, as a matter of fact, and I say this with all due respect to all the projects that are focused on that, but launch pads and like NFT platforms and wallets and like staking pools and like you name a basic service, a swap, right? Like those are commoditized. You're not like they sound great, like because people expect them because their expectations are higher, but like you're not doing anything innovative by building those things. And so like I'm like, well, screw it. I don't have token holders to adhere to, so I'm going to build them and I'm just going to give them all away. And like, do I have a goal? Yeah, my goal is to build a massive community of projects that are willing to work together to fight the status quo. Because what y'all don't realize, like when you hear about what I'm building, is what my game plan here is. And my game plan is to pair all of my utilities with a privately owned liquidity pool that has no fees, that will allow all of us together to basically set the stage for potentially an entirely new market.
You stop that right now.
You really shouldn't be saying all this right now, Jeff. Just keep it all between us for now.
I'm not going to say the specifics on like how I'm doing anything or why I'm doing anything or how we'll make money along the way. But I can assure you that like everything that we do is under the guise and the lens of like, how do we...
I was legitimately shocked that he was even going down that road. I was like, no, just wait. We still have conversations to do.
So no, I just like, I don't like the reason I'm willing to speak transparently. I've spoken transparently since day one about what I'm wanting to do, because I don't want anybody to be caught off guard. And I'll tell you right now that if you have a utility that is threatened by this, then you're not focused on the right things. Because at the end of the day, you can have mine, you can whitelist it, you can charge the same fees that you're going to charge, you can have your staking requirements, like do it all. I'll tell you though, if you're going to do that on my platform, like I'm going to take a little bit of a fee from that, because like you're upselling your community, but that's your community to upsell. Otherwise, it's free. So yeah, like from my perspective, you know, if you're going to launch a token, or you're an existing token, like don't waste your time on anything else, because like I said, like I just want to give it to you all for free. I just want it to work with my affiliate network, because at the end of the day, that affiliate network is the thing that's valuable to me, because that's going to allow me to be able to take this thing to where I want it to go.
On a side note, Leanne, I pulled up your guys' Meta Arcade, and I was like, let me see how quick it is for me to hop into a game. I'm like, okay, there we go. There's a tab for game. I clicked on that. I'm thinking, I'm probably going to have to connect my wallet because it's doing stuff with crypto, right? I hit play, but right before I hit play, I was like, oh, difficulty setting? I'm going to set it on the highest
don't
difficulty.
mess with that.
Like,
don't mess with that.
Dude, I'm going on the highest difficulty setting. Come on. I'm a gamer, right? I swap it over to the highest setting. I hit play. I'm like this with my mouse. I'm like, why isn't my, oh no. And I'm already getting damage. And I'm like, where's my controls? So I go over to the keys. I'm doing that. And I'm hitting spacebar. And I'm like, wait, it's not shooting. Is it enter? Is it shift? Like I'm pressing all these buttons. I'm taking all this damage. I'm like, I'm going to die. And it's only in the course of 30, 45 seconds. Finally figured out that I think it was the X button.
It's X button, but I actually have an update that will be launching, I believe, tomorrow, that the dev has that finished. And when you launch the game, there'll be a bit that says controls, and you can click on it and it's going to show you them. Okay. I do have that. We've been messing around with a lot of things in the back end the last few days, I'm not going to lie. So many updates to come, a few things that obviously Chris knows about that's coming. But yeah, the controls, we're obviously multi-platform. PC gamers, it's X to fire and C for your rockets, and arrow keys to move.
No worries.
But if you are playing with that drone, I will advise you, do not put that level difficulty up, because you will be destroyed.
Hey,
if you want,
instantly wrecked.
Hey, all I need to know is the controls. I feel like I could do pretty good at this. I used to be a full-time live streamer, just so you guys know. I did that for a couple years.
Awesome. Well, if you really want a challenge, go check out my Burning Moon level. Put it on to difficulty 1 with the drone, and yeah, we'll see how far you get on there.
Okay. But it's fun. It's actually
the first
quite
time
well
I played. The first time I played, I got a score of 16. 16 Atlas.
Well, I had the same trouble as Atlas. Like, and I say this like, I pulled it up when we were chatting, and I went in there and like instantly wanted to hit the space button as well.
Yeah.
And then like this was like before we actually we had chatted, before we actually ever got on the phone. Or Discord or whatever, and I was like trying to move around, trying to hit space, and I was like, wait, like I thought they had said something about like shooting, but like maybe it's just like a game where you're dodging all this stuff. So I spent like 15 minutes just playing the game, just dodging shit. I'm like, God, I'm good at dodging. I'm good at dodging everything. And then I was like, wait, this doesn't feel right. There's got to be something. I'm missing something. But
we did have them on screen, but it was quite intrusive on screen. So we were working on a better way. Obviously, mobile gamers have the easiest way because they hold their finger and they move their ship about and they shoot. So yeah, and I myself play on iPads. I prefer my iPad to the PC, just more for ease of access. And I have a few players who actually just play on the phone on their way to work if they're taking public transport. But yeah, the controls will show tomorrow. We've got a lot of updates. We do have a couple of new planets coming that I'm sure Worldwide Crypto is going to love them. With some new bosses and some new enemies, because that's what it's all about. You know, people want to play new things. People want to blow stuff up, and that's what I aim to do. But I aim to do it in a way that all communities can compete and have a laugh. When I joined crypto, I never understood the don't ask questions. So, you know, I'm Scottish. We always ask questions.
Quick question. You said the display of the controls is a feature that's coming out. Will you have the ability to change controls? So for example, if I wanted to move the ship, my first reaction was for me to move the mouse. Will I be able to have those kinds of options in the future?
In the future, yes. Just not right now. In the future, we are looking at that. We are looking at being able to use controllers and stuff for PC in the future as well. As I'm sure you're perfectly aware of, if you're a gamer, trying to balance it between all the different devices to make it so he's playing to make it so that it's the same difficulty across all these devices, whether you're mobile, PC, you know, they all have their advantages and disadvantages, but it's a balancing act to make sure that no one's got any great advantage over anyone else.
All right, there's 3 things that I want to make sure that we get through before the end of the evening, and there's about 45 minutes left. First thing, since it's fresh on my mind right now because Andrew just asked these good questions. Andrew asks, why can't the roundtable, etc., create a united NFT marketplace to rival OpenSea? The answer to that question simply is we are. I can't go into great details about that, but specifically the guys that you see on the screen this evening have things works right now. We are working through stuff. More information will come out, and you will be happy with the results that you see. Um, Again, just we release information like stuff like that as soon as it's all just kind of inked and finished, but it's all in the works currently. Um, Jeff has been an extreme help to the Unite DeFi movement. Ace from Enhance has been an extreme help. If you want to dig through a little bit further on your own time and look what Enhance has already done and what they offer, look at what Jeff is about and what he's building and offering, look at the kind of stuff the other players on this table have put out and offering, you could probably put stuff together and figure out what we're doing. But I don't care to personally elaborate too much further on that right in this moment. The next thing I wanted to talk about, somebody asked me earlier this evening, right before I did this roundtable, and I was like, you know what? That's a really good question for the roundtable. Let's talk about proxy contracts real quick. All right, so I want to lead with anything done in crypto and in DeFi. If it's done with transparency to begin with, and like that's like the standard that you set from day one, it's not like whatever it is that you do, as long as the community agrees with it and your community is okay with it and it's actually not nefarious, then you're fine. You've met that set standard of letting the people know and allowing them to participate if they want to. But if you decide to use functions like a proxy contract, and sorry, so let me explain it to anybody who's listening or listens to this afterwards. What a proxy contract is when we talk about them is it will allow you to take a token address and point it towards another contract. So you're able to have like a receiving address proxy to a logic contract, and then that logic contract conducts the functions for you and does things. People set up proxies in different ways. Whenever you first saw them come on the market, you really saw everybody hard coding the logic, and they would proxy a distributor or something like that. And that's like kind of like the best standard use case of it. If you're going to be doing a proxy contract, still have your main logic, which is technically the smart contract that everybody knows and loves, your token. Have that be hard coded, and then have the other functions that you might want to swap out later as your proxies. That way you can grow and evolve your contract. In time, that's gotten messed up, and you've seen people who have had proxied everything out other than a token address, essentially. That kind of runs into like a gray area. If you can proxy out your main logic contract, then essentially you can switch what your token completely does and everything about it at a drop of a hat, and nobody would be none the wiser. That's not to say that that's a bad thing. Again, if you're transparent about it and you have a use for it, you know, like, hey, this is why we're doing this and this is what might come from it, then that's fine. And like operate as such. And again, this is just my own personal opinions. I'm a DeFi maxi, and I see why these proxy contracts exist, and they do have benefits. I personally, just a personal belief, typically put out a solid hard-coded contract every time because I just think out what the project's going to do and what it has to accomplish, and then I write the code to do that, and then I put out that contract. And if I need to change it, it never happens. But with anybody else, please comment on this. Yes.
I'm gonna jump in real quick because I am on the West Coast, bro. I gotta hop off here in about 5 minutes, so I'm gonna miss the last 30 minutes. I apologize. I'll catch you up on the next one. But yo, why a proxy contract? Have you guys ever had to relaunch your project before? Have you ever had to do it more than once? yo, that's why proxy is to keep from having to do that, bro. I'm 1000% for a proxy, bro. I've had to relaunch 3 times, and I don't know if any more is coming or not. But hey, man, if it does, I swear to y'all, it'll be the last one, because we'll have something up underneath this thing that if we need to make any changes, we can do that without having to do all that again, man. That is not fun. I mean, it is fun because it's always cool to have a relaunch, another little exciting moment. But it's not fun. It's really not fun. So I'm 1000% for proxy contracts as well. Just throwing that out there.
Well, I think as Chris said, like, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I've got Gabe. I was trying to see if I can get Gabe in because like he loves this type of conversation. And I don't know if y'all know, but like when SafeMoon announced their proxy contract, I was actually a big proponent of that. You know, at the end, like it was pretty big change and a pretty big shift at the time in terms of the way that people were thinking about it, at least in the space. And you know, I was familiar with proxy contracts specifically from you know the routers and the distributors point perspective, but at the same time it was like well like wait, hold on, like why and for what reason? And I don't quite understand why, like I didn't quite understand it, but the more that I've gotten to know and the more that I've watched projects succeed and fail and why and hacks happen and all of the different things that can go about, like, you know, the more that I've become a fan of proxies and upgradability, specifically around like core functions that will allow you to be able to implement and integrate with your utility. But like all you need to do is think about like what are the big things that you need to be able to proxy, and it's certainly not everything. And also like you know, it's at the expense of gas here, right? So it's like the more simplified you can make it, while also providing yourself the ability to have that flexibility, because you can change like for example, like tiered taxation, right? Like tiered taxation can just be a right value of a contract with a tax value, right? Like you don't need to have tiered taxation as multiple calls in your contract. It can be it's literally it's 2 inputs on one right? So it's like there's so much you can do where you don't need to have that proxy. But I will tell you, everything that I build at ShillX is all proxyable. Everything is upgradable. And like, if you don't like it, then don't be on my platform, because like I have it because I want to be able to adapt and adjust and do all these things over time. Like I'll tell you right now that we actually have the ability to go in and change the contracts that override via proxy, the contracts that interact with every project that's on our system. We're going to lock ourselves out of that, but we're still in beta. We make that very clear on our site that we're in beta, and we're going to limit our functionality over time as this thing gets battle hardened and tested. But like, especially now.
And you just you hit the key point there though. You're very transparent about it. You explain it in great detail on why you do it, and you explain it in a manner that makes sense on you having the knowledge of being able to do it. There's a lot of people that are doing it, and they're doing it without the knowledge of EJ says it all the time. I love this saying, contract drivers. You need to at least know how to drive a contract if you are involved in a token project. If you don't know how to drive that contract, you can't tell me what your functions do. If you can't go through your ABI settings and tell me, hey, this is how I would change this, then I don't know if you should really be running a project at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If you don't have somebody on your team, sorry, you don't have to, but you need to have somebody on your team that
understands it. Right.
Yeah.
And you make a great, Jeff, you make a great point, because you brought up so many more details that a lot of people might not understand in regards to like making those calls, the upgrades, things that proxies, the advantages of proxies are almost like the advantages of having like an unlocked liquidity pool. And go back to what Chris said about like, you know, you have to be smart enough to be able to get behind a contract and be able to drive it. And the reality is that as people continue to get into this space and learn, you'll find out more and more that like there's advantages to having certain aspects of a contract or unlocking things, but then it goes back to the integrity. It goes back to the foundation of the team. It goes back to the knowledge of the team. It goes back to the transparency of the team, because all of those things give more advantages to the dev if they're used properly, and it can completely destroy something for them to take advantage of them if it's not used properly, basically.
See, I think part of it, like the proxy contracts becoming more popular. I look at it as right now anybody can, and I know some that have, they just go out and grab a contract. They don't know what it's doing. They copy it and they say, I can make this project. And they launch a token off a contract that they don't know. They don't understand any of it. They just change a few values and launch it. If something is screwed up, then it's just dead. With proxy contracts, it may embolden some people who would not do that otherwise and think, well, I can just change it later if I mess something up. So I think that at least initially here, we're going to see a lot more unsustainable projects launching using proxy contracts because they think that they can just fix it later or get someone to help them fix it later, because they're not afraid of having an immutable contract out there that they're just stuck with.
And I just wanted to touch on what was said a little bit earlier. And, you guys are not running, you're not just doing this as a hobby. This is a business for all of you guys. And with any business, you have to be able to grow. And when you aren't able to make changes and the necessary changes to help your project and help your community, then eventually it burns out and dies. And a lot of people don't understand that, especially when they're new to crypto and they're like, oh, well, they need to renounce the contract and all this and that. No, you got to think further than that. This ain't last year's crypto. This is 2022, man. You guys are legit running straight businesses. And like I said, with any business, you have to be able to grow and you have to be able to make the necessary changes to ensure that your business is continuing to grow.
Well, and like you said, it's about the business too. Like there's people like Enhance, for instance. Enhance is another great example of somebody who's got their hands in a lot of cookie jars. They have spread out their options for revenue to so many different areas that they function a whole lot more like an actual just business versus a project like mine, where I have a built token function. And that token function was laid out months before I launched my contract. And that's all that token's going to do. Like that's not going to do anything else. I'm going to do this with my project for sure. And it fits like my business model to not have to change my contract ever. So it makes sense for me versus somebody else. I talked to Ryan Fudhound about his whenever they did their thing, and I explained it to him just like that. I could understand completely why you guys want a full proxy contract simply because you're trying to change so many different utilities and you don't know where you're going to land. You might have to shift in a way that you need to have that capability. Mm-hmm. We just need to make sure that we're all talking about it openly more often. That way, like the general public understands what's going on and why it's there and how that exists and how that functions within our space.
So the other thing to keep in mind as well is if you're starting a project that's very complex, you're creating an entire ecosystem, you don't have to cram everything into a single contract either. I've seen some folks struggle with that as well. There's nothing that says you have to have a single contract to run everything that you plan on doing.
Gabe, I'm excited you're here, Gabe. I've heard so many good things about you, bud. And you're always busy whenever I want to talk to you. So what's going on, man?
What's going on? Yeah, well, when I heard there was talk about proxy, I was like, oh, what are they saying? Because naturally, like I've been in the space almost a year now. And when I came in from, are you guys getting feedback?
Here, it might be me.
When I came in from, I was an embedded systems developer before, and I realized that like people are launching these financial instruments with 0 upgrades. It blew my mind. Like I'm like, name one piece of software that's ever been written that could not be upgraded. Like name one that we're using today or that's ever been used that could not be patched or upgraded in one shape or form. Right? You can't. Now I get your point of what you're saying about like if you have a specific use case for your token, it will always be that use case, and like that is like all it's going to be for. Then I agree that that's like, you know, that's a feasible path. But if you're going to be a business and you want to expand potentially to maybe to a play to earn, and you need to shift some functions in your contract to facilitate that, like it makes more sense to have it a proxy contract. And I think the word proxy is just like, you know, it just has, you know, bad connotations to it. Like I think we should just shift to like, this is just an it's upgradable. Like it's upgradable for our project's benefit. Like, you know, if it weren't upgradable, we might miss out on opportunities that are presented to us. And you know, it's unfortunate that especially in Binance that it's seen negatively, because on the ETH side, due to gas fees and just the overall cost of launching contracts, upgrades are pretty prevalent over there. So, and they don't have as many rug pulls and kind of all the wild west we have on the Binance chain, but it's not as frowned upon on ETH as it is in Binance. And I believe it's just because of all of the negativity and all of the rug pulls that we've seen. I think as projects like the ones that are on here begin to become more mainstream and start taking the spotlight away from other projects that aren't upholding the standards that these are, we'll see a shift in sentiment, like towards, oh, okay, like it's not a big deal that they're upgradable. These guys are transparent. Like they're doing everything they can to to make sure that this project is set up for success in the future. And I mean, there's so many unknowns. I mean, hell, Solidity upgrades a version like every month now. And they're making there could potentially be compiler exploits, right? And so there were some in the early versions 4 and stuff that were moderate. I mean, so like to be just like in such an innovative space to just say, hey, you know what, we're just going to throw it out there, watch everyone just pass us by, and like if there's a bug, like oh well, like we can't do anything about it. Like I don't know, it seems foolish, and maybe I'm just not like a true DeFi advocate, but I think there's a place for, there's other mechanisms like multi-sigs and I don't want to use the word DAO because I'm not, it's kind of, I don't believe a DAO is the right thing for most business startups anyway either. Like, hey, here's my business, take control of it. But anyway, that's for discussion for another day. But I'm saying there's multi-sigs, voting mechanisms you can use and even you can even queue up your upgrades so that people can read through them before you even before you deploy them. So there's ways you can do it transparently and that people should be okay with.
Something else that I would like to just kind of toss in there a little bit for this is when you look at it from the point of view of the investor side, right? You say, well, this is what it is, and it's not going to change.
Say goodbye. He's just going to leave. He just wants to say goodbye.
Yeah, man. I just didn't want to dip on you guys in the middle of Gabe was going off with some legendary talk, man, and I just couldn't interrupt him. But yo, I'm over my time. I apologize. Like I said, sometimes I'm on the East Coast, sometimes I'm all over the place, man. So I apologize. I have my time frame just a little wrong here. But thank you for having me out here, Meta Captain, man. I appreciate it. Anytime we have another one, you already know what to do. Just hit me up. Shout out to all you guys on here.
Shout out to Metaverse Josh real quick. Shout out to Metaverse Josh.
Shout out to Metaverse Josh. And shout out to all you legends up here, man. I want to do more of these. I enjoy these. You know what I'm saying? Roundtable talks and cool stuff. And we're out here doing what we say we're doing. There's nobody else doing these things, man. And I want y'all to understand that. And I want y'all to believe in yourselves and have the courage and motivation within inside of y'all to say, hey, man, you know what? We talk about it, but we also walk about it too. And just continue doing what y'all are doing, man. I love all y'all, but I do got to dip, man. I'll catch y'all on the next one. All right.
I'll talk to you later.
All right, man.
See you later.
Peace out, guys.
So like I was just lightly saying, when you look at it from the point of view of the investors, people look at projects and they say, oh, this project is locked. It is what it is. So there's a sense of security that's there. And as a developer, I can understand saying, I want to roll out these kinds of things so that I can reassure the investors. But then all it takes is for another project to come out that's the exact same thing as yours, but it's just a little bit better. There's something that's just a little bit different to it. And then they leave. And now you can't adapt to the situation. You're just left kind of high and dry, and you're grasping at straws trying to figure out what you can still do. So I think it's important that you can be able to be flexible, and you can be able to adapt to your surroundings and continue to be innovative and move with the space rather than trying to lock in the space around you.
I think there's this fallacy like within the community. It's like, you know, as a buyer or holder, right? That like if there's a proxy that's bad for me, you know, if it's renounced, that's better for me, especially the DeFi, like the maxis, the full degen, like, you know, maxis, like, but from my perspective, it's like, you know, it just makes it easier to be able to do the upgrades, because the reality is that like I'll just give this an example. Like imagine a contract has like, you know, given up, they've limited their ability to only write a few things just to be able to do the normal stuff, right? Like exempt somebody from taxes and change their tax rate for a specific buyer or whatever, right? And so the reality is that like just that simple mechanism alone, just that mechanism with a flash loan, and you could essentially drain your own liquidity pool. There are ways to be able to get your money out. There's ways to be able to manipulate your existing contract, to be able to do all kinds of really interesting things, to be able to basically get yourself out of it, unlock yourself, and get you into a new contract anyways. And so it's like recognizing that like there's a million ways that a project can kind of use some of the existing common functionality to be able to do it anyways, like unless it's fully renounced, then it's like I don't understand what the concern is. Like, just make it easier for them to be able to do the upgrade. And if you don't trust them, then go to a renounced contract or look at the DAOs or look at these other things. But I can tell you right now that if you're buying something and you don't trust them, then it probably should be a quick flip anyways. And you better sell before they dump. So like, it's not the right project for you. So that's kind of my philosophy on it.
Yeah,
I'd concede that point for sure, because like realistically, if you look at like my contract, for instance, nobody's getting away in the space with launching a contract like mine. I can change everything. I can set every limit as high or as low as I want to. I can do all the stuff that most of the time you don't actually put in contracts. But like, I did it, and I just told my community that I was doing it. Then I explained why I was doing it. Like, hey, I've seen this happen before, or I've seen this happen before. This is why I'm doing this. I'm adding this in for this reason. And I essentially just handled that proxy situation through giving myself a contract that's extremely flexible, but just one main net contract. And I will also say that, like, you are right about the whole, a lot of people shove a bunch of things in there that they don't need. You can ask Kevin. I get handed like contracts that are literally like 2,200 lines of code that I'll reduce down to like 600 or 700 lines, and it runs the exact same way. There's no difference to it whatsoever, other than it being more efficient, a little bit faster.
Hey, Chris, I also want to highlight two other aspects of what you've done with MetaBusdCoin. Contract aside, you spent years of your career working on other projects, doing things for other people, sometimes paid, sometimes not, which has built up an incredible reputation as being a trusted resource and a very knowledgeable person in the space. And then secondly, I also want to highlight, you're one of the very few projects and tokens on here that have launched the way that you did, with the success that you did, because you had so much community support that it basically, rarely do you see hype carry after a launch. And that's one of the things that we talk about all the times, where we go back and forth behind the scenes, that I'm so, EverReflect jealous of, that you're able to like basically launch, and then you see steady growth with people getting excited, and the Telegram and your Discord and all of the communities building up post the hype of a launch is incredible. And I just, same thing when I say about all these projects, that I think that these are probably the best best trades and holds that you could possibly get. But that is one of the things that's incredible about what has happened from your perspective that most cannot accomplish. And so not to say that others can't do it, but like it's rare to be able to see those two aspects implemented so well, and everybody go out and buy a MetaBusdCoin.
And I'll say this much. I'm not saying that it's the right way to do it, but I've never seen another project launch the way we did. I paired 100% of the liquidity. I paired 100% of the BNB into liquidity. Just 100%. I didn't hold anything back for anything else. I wanted everybody to have the closest realized value immediately off the gate. So
no
like
no launch and no
no launch pad. Yeah, no launch pad, no GX pad, no pink sale, none of those clowns. I didn't want to use any launch pads. Gonna take a bunch of my tokens or anything like that. Jeff from ShillX over here, buddy, oh pal. You don't even know how many launches I'm going to send through your launch pad. Can you explain what your launch pad's going to do for us, Jeff? Actually, real quick.
Yeah. So probably should be touching on as much as I can.
Are we allowed to talk about that? I'm so sorry.
No. I brought it up. So it's fine.
Okay.
The reality is that like what we're basically doing is we're creating a free launch pad for communities to be able to use, projects to be able to use. And so essentially what will happen is they'll come on, they'll list, they get in the beginning, it will be more of a templated page. Over time, it will become more and more personalizable. But they'll get a page. That link is their direct buy link. They can promote that absolutely anywhere that they want to be able to go and promote it. And any buy that happens, we take 0 fees from. They get all the functionality that they would expect to be able to do it, all the whitelisting functionality, the limited buys, the timed releases at tiered pricing levels, right? So like all the stuff that you'd want to be able to do, you can do with our Launchpad. We're obviously like we're new, and so like will our bot mitigation be as strong as possible at launch? Like maybe not. Like will it like there's going to be lessons that are going to be learned, and we're going to continue to iterate over time. So I just want to set that expectation, but it's going to be very unique in that all of the direct buys are free. It's going to be able to be listed on our site and discoverable. It's instantly integrated with our affiliate network, so affiliates can actually promote things. If an affiliate actually brings you a buyer, they will get paid, and we will take a portion of their commission on that, which is where we make money on the deal. But otherwise, it's all free. It's all free on our site.
Just to cut in and keep it all quick and clarify, Launchpads for me, just so everybody's like clear on this, I just called them all clowns. They're not. I understand what a Launchpad service does and what it's good for. Obviously, the community needs a level of like barrier and escrow level for like that early pre-sale, and I believe in that. I believe in that as a service. Like, hey, we're going to securely fund this transaction for everybody to make sure everybody's happy and secure. I love that as a baseline service. I hated that at the time of my launch specifically, there was not an option for a launch pad out there that wasn't going to just take a percentage of your liquidity. Not in BNB, but they'll take your tokens and then they'll wait 3 weeks until you've 10x, and then they jump your tokens and there's nothing you can do, or you have to, or like EJ, I think EJ paid him $70,000 for his tokens back, or something like that. That's, huge, crazy. No, sorry, what was it?
Yeah, we 69,800 BUSD.
I thought he was gonna say 69,420.
But going back to like the education of this space, like there was so much that we did prior to, which I'm an advocate of testing and education, but there's aspects that like, Ace talks about sitting with legends. I'm sitting with legends with a couple of you guys because you guys have done this for so long. And that was one aspect of our project that like, yeah, we got some promo out of it, and yeah, it was great marketing. But in retrospect, there's been so many times that, like I'm open to learn, I'm open to experience and say like, hey, I'm not the smartest person in this space, but I tell you what, I'm going to work harder than anybody else, and I'm going to soak up more information than anybody else. And that's one thing that we had to learn. We had to learn it the hard way. Like, hey, pink sale, 70K, we're safe. But, you know, in retrospect, like, yeah, that it's highway robbery in some ways, you know?
So I guess two points to that. So like, I guess I might have already mentioned this before, but like, first of all, like anybody that has a launch pad, like, you know, Reflex is listening with us and they have a launch pad. And so like, I want to be very specific about this. Like we're going to have a launch pad. We're maintaining the launch pad. We're going to keep the code up to date. We're going to continue to iterate on it, and it's going to benefit tons of different people. Now, the thing that we don't have that Reflex has and that other launch pads have is a big community that's going to that will help a project during that launch, right? Which is immensely valuable. And so the way that we've solved for that is that instead of saying like go and build your own, use ours and charge the fees and have that benefit, charge the fees, do require staking, do all however you want to manage it. Again, this isn't V1, but like however you want to manage it, we will have the mechanisms for you to be able to do that. And if you want to charge fees, on your white labeled version of our launchpad, you'll be able to ultimately do that. And you'll be able to do that to the benefit of your community, so that because the community is a big resource. And so like, I don't want anybody to think that like we're actually trying to compete at any level. Like all of our services can all have fees tacked onto them as a project. And so like, and that's super important because it's the second point. And my second point is that instead of taking your liquidity pool, a portion of your liquidity pool, or adding gas fees on top of PCS, we are actually providing projects with a self-owned liquidity pool that will actually provide less sell down of your tokens, lower gas fees, and opportunities to basically incentivize more direct buys as opposed to exchange buys, due to an unfair advantage in the fact that this liquidity pool is owned completely by you and we take nothing from it. Now, again, there's a minimum of a 0.3 fee savings from PCS alone, not to mention the gas savings. And so if projects want to charge that because now they have their own swap mechanism, like we're going to take a portion if you're going to charge, right? Because our goal is to give back to your community as much as possible. If monetizing it makes sense for your project, great. We're not going to stop you from doing that. But if you're going to do it, we're going to take a piece.
And just to back up his point there, just to clear my name a little bit more, because I'm bashing all these swaps out here. Your community and your project, your ecosystem might be built on something like that, and they might be down with that. So the example that I'm going to give real quick is SafeMoon Swap. We all know SafeMoon. We all know SafeMoon Swap. SafeMoon Swap is a garbage. I'm sorry, SafeMoon Swap is a product that is not the best out there, and it charges you more money. But at the end of the day, if you're a SafeMoon holder, that might make sense for you to use, because the intrinsic value of participating in that ecosystem and driving that like revenue for that project, you know, is beneficial to them, and in the long game, beneficial for you, because that project benefits, so do you. So you might be incentivized alone to just go and use that and do that from there. So I could still see like projects, even though they're using ShillX Launchpad, might add in fees anyways, because that does benefit their project somehow within, you know, like they're using it to buy back and burn or something.
Yep.
So then their community is like, yeah, we're still going to go and we're going to use that, even though I could use another one from ShillX, another launchpad on the same site for free. I'm still going to go and use this one or whatever, a swap, whatever service it might be. I could see that definitely happening. I want to ask a question for everybody around the room real quick, just to make sure we give everybody another chance to talk and touch base. It's been a great conversation tonight. I feel bad because this always happens. We get caught up in great conversations and it just kind of dictates the entire course of events, but it's been a really great conversation so far. But I like to give everybody a chance to give like a project update or a community update, anything that you're excited about. So for our influencers, we're going to leave y'all for last. Y'all can talk about anything that you know about that's going on in DeFi at all, are anything that you've heard about tonight or anything that you're just personally interested in. For the projects, I'd like you to try to focus on something that you're doing or you've got going on. We're going to start right here with Kevin.
Hey, yeah, for us, big thing we've got going right now is we've started work on our first two projects in the BTIP. That's our token incubation program. Where essentially we find somebody who's got an idea for projects and they're not really sure what to do next. So we help them with developing their smart contract, coming up with how to build their community, setting up their token allocations, et cetera, so on and so forth. Basically everything from idea all the way through to post-launch support. So yeah, we have the first two of those projects underway. We've also implemented a voting system on our tools website, so people can submit tokens to be included in our BBFT kitchen, which is the utility we use to buy and then sell a portion of tokens. So those two things are pretty exciting. We're also going to start doing a series of videos on not only our own project, because and Chris loves to tell everybody we have a lot of moving parts, and it's hard to describe all of it in one sitting. So we're going to try and break that up into smaller, like 5 to 8 minute videos, as well as doing a couple of like general education videos for some of the common questions that we see regularly in our Discord.
Real quick question for you, because I actually had a private call this evening. I was finishing that podcast right before we came on here, and they actually asked me, "Oh, so did we make it in?" And just to clarify, so your voting system, that voting system is going to allow a project to be entered into the BRR, and that's your review process. Now, that's an automated process. So even though one gets voted and put into the BRR, it still has to pass that automated phase of whatever metrics you guys use to decide on whether or not it actually goes into like the ETF fund. So so even if they get voted up, they're going to get put into the roster, and if they meet the metrics, they'll definitely get automatically added, but you have no way of adding them actually into the kitchen, correct?
Not directly from that submission. So like you're saying, they submit the token. If it gets enough votes, meaning there's enough people interested in seeing that, then it moves into the BRR. The BRR is that algorithm that gives it a rating. And when we do our update to the token pool every 2 weeks, if that rating is put it into the top either 10, 15, or 5, depending on which category they're in, then they'll be included in the token pool. So there's no guarantees that they'll end up in the kitchen if they get added via that submission, but it does at least get them into the BRR so they can be rated against the other tokens.
Awesome. And again, just real quick, so the kitchen, that's what buys and sells things, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's what I was going to ask. Can you just like every time I hear you talk about your project, I get hungry. So can you just like as like I might be losing weight right now, but I'm still a fat guy at heart. So like I want to hear a little bit about like what are the like all the different terms, and can you just kind of break it down to me at a simple level?
All the different terms. So to start, BusdBuffet, we refer to just BBFT. The kitchen is our main utility. We call it the B kit. There's also 2 other utilities that do buying and selling. One is the BBFT soup and salad. We call that BSAS. Then we have the BBFT appetizer. We call it BApp. Those all culminate in the distribution event on Fridays. We call that the BDE. The rating system is the BRR. We have the BBAR, which are buyback, burn, and replenish, which is where we do the buyback, the burn of our tokens, and then send some back to the staking pool. And I'm sure there's a few more acronyms I'm forgetting. Like I made them up and I forget some of them sometimes.
Could I guess one more question for you. Like last time we talked about like how you were going about like at a super high level, like hedging. Like I'm curious, like how are you identifying, like you don't have to give me like your secret sauce or anything, but like how do you identify like the right opportunities at like a super high level?
Super high level, we look at data coming from 4 different APIs and sort of cross-reference and look for a pattern that emerges from that data, and then use that to dictate what goes into the token pool.
To a little bit of further insight there. Not like that I understand his system because I don't, but because I'm not at all like on that level an economy guy. I just understand liquidity trading a lot better than most. But NBC has made it into the kitchen quite a bit due to solid price action, not necessarily gained price action, but my chart does not move. I've got a diamond floor of guys that know how to hold it. And there's certain numbers that if we hit, no matter what, we go back up. So like that's a metric that obviously means something to his algorithm because I keep getting thrown in even though I have low volume. It's just like guaranteed, hey, we know that this won't go down versus other things that will go down and stuff like that is what I'm assuming at least. All right, EJ, are you available? Take this question, bud.
Oh yeah. Yep. I was just when I'm like texting or messaging other people, I feel like I'm being rude when I'm not looking at you guys. So and Kevin, like everybody in these spaces is always like, hey, do you guys have like a math guy? Is there like a math person that you could like, have help us? Like Kevin is the math guy. Like there's not like he's the PhD of algorithms and math. And like it's a huge benefit for EverReflect, but also just to be able to have him in the UniteDeFi space because what they do, nobody else can do. Just that it can't take place. EverReflect, we will be releasing our ticketing platform this month. We have been testing it nonstop. I know I bring up these guys a lot, but Noodles and Manual are two amazing website developers, builders, workaholics. We did have kind of one cool kind of epiphany today when we were doing some testing that were the process that we were going through was going to always be fiat, and then fiat was converted into, EverReflect, and the buy and burn will be a portion of that tax. We will always have the ability to purchase our tickets with fiat, but we're also going to always have the option to be purchased with BUSD as well. One of the factors that led into that was kind of ease of use from doing the Tango convention tests for their ticketing. But what we've also discovered, and this is something I talk about a lot because the ticketing industry is something that has been frustrating me for 20 years as far as like the fees. But we kind of had this epiphany today that like, hey, every single time we are purchasing with fiat, we're still keeping our taxes and our fees lower, but you're always going to get hit with approximately 3% for a credit card. Like you can't avoid that because you need MasterCard, you need Visa, you need Amex, you need those. And there's certain fees that you can get down lower, but realistically 2.9% is about the lowest that everybody pays across the, not just ticketing industry, not just like small business, like major corporations, everybody pays about that percentage. If you pay with BUSD, the nice part is that basically it doesn't matter the amount that you're transferring. There's always just going to be that low gas fee. So we kind of had that epiphany that will always allow fiat and BUSD. So that's coming, and just in a few short real days now. So we're super pumped that we would be able to throw out some big promotions, some AMAs, some marketing behind our ticketing platform. And people I think will be super excited. Yeah, the NFTs. We're also obviously working a lot behind the scenes with the nesting. I'm stealing the phrase from somebody. I think it was on the ShillX AMA the other day that we will have smart NFTs. So I don't know if that's
can I shill this for you real quick? Just like, can I hop in and shill some EverReflect for you?
Yeah, for sure.
Not saying that you're not doing a great job, but okay. So let's hone in on this real quick. You mentioned Tango Crypto and then ran right past it. So what's going on with Tango Crypto? What's going on with your NFTs for Tango Crypto? When is that? When can we expect that? What's going on there? Let's break it down for the people listening. Let's break it down for the people at home. What's going on?
Well, so Tango Crypto is another group that basically does. They have a tier 2 subscription. They do some really nice educational things. In Discord is basically where they mainly live. Mobile Trades, who I'd mentioned earlier, has been he's affiliated. I'm not sure how much he is on the team and everything anymore, but like a lot of big influencers, a lot of big people have been in and out of that space. They do work with a ton of projects. They're holding a convention this coming October, which will be in Orlando, Florida. It's also going to coincide, another plug, Nobility will be out there for one of their kind of like, I guess you could call it token group meetups. I know I'm getting that wrong, so I apologize, Lunar. And
I think it's literally called Nobility Meetup. I really do believe that's what it's called. Yeah.
So that'll coincide as well. But these tickets will be on sale within no later than the next 2 weeks. That will put them on sale. It'll be BUSD to purchase. Their starting rates, I don't think I'll get in trouble for saying this, will be $100 to attend this convention. So fairly inexpensive to go there for a couple of days. I think that Kyle is still going to be, maybe I shouldn't have said that too, one of the keynotes. But Tango Crypto Convention, Orlando in October. It's one of the very first events that we'll be putting on there. Also discussions with the Bay City Pig Fest.
All right, let's get to the nitty gritty here. So Tango Crypto Convention, that's going to be held in Florida. You're providing the tickets. Is anybody else providing tickets for that?
No. We'll be the only ticket provider for it. So the
So you're the only ticket provider, and are you only providing NFT tickets?
Yeah, I mean, technically, if somebody wanted to attend and they only had the capabilities of, say, printing off a PDF, we'll accommodate that. But every purchaser of a crypto convention ticket will have an NFT. If they basically just will need a wallet.
Okay, so this is a prime example of how this entire system works, though. So this system, without the actual EverReflect app available yet, regardless, will still be operating the same way. People are going to be able to go on there and they're going to be able to purchase a ticket, and they're just purchasing a ticket. And if they want to use Trust Wallet to show that ticket, or if they want to print off like an email and show that ticket off a piece of paper, then they can do that in that space. So this is something that you're capable of accomplishing right now. It's done, finished. You're ready to go with it essentially today, or well, within the next 2 weeks, you said. But
but because we're buying tickets right now. So technically, it's not basically public on sale, hasn't taken place yet, but it's available today. There will be an app for all those promoters. So if there's anybody out there that has an event that they want to sell tickets for NFTs, the nice part is, as the event promoter, you can just download the ticketing app to scan the QR codes, also to be able to verify if it is the purchaser of the NFT. And it's a cool process. I mean, I've told you guys, I've sold, I don't say this to brag, but millions of tickets over my career. This is just one of those answers and responses to what we already needed in the space for all the conventions and festivals that we do here with our association. The cool part about this process is that it's like you're getting a ticket. It's an easy purchase. You're getting the confirmation in your email. You're going to have it in your Trust Wallet. You could have it just, hopefully we'll get it to the point where we can put it in your Apple Wallet. But
I know I'm extremely excited and extremely bullish about this. I think that this is a major step, specifically because because you've already done beta, and we've talked about your open betas where people have gone and used the tickets. The tickets work. So people are taking their Trust Wallet, they're scanning it, they're getting into the event the same way somebody next to them is using a paper ticket. It works just fine. But this is a little bit different, because this is the one event, no option of any other ticket. Every single ticket purchased will be through this system. I believe that this is what takes this to the stratosphere. Not this one event, but rolling out this system to where every event that you're doing is on your platform, your NFT tickets.
And always a portion of the tax always provides buyback and burn, basically. So straight liquidity, straight BNB into liquidity pool for EVRF. And we've built it this way. And a lot of times we're not the most flashy. We're not always trying to be like the biggest, arrogant whatevers in the space. We built a foundation. I've said it since October, November of last year. We're building a foundation. We're keeping this simple. This isn't going to be anything that is so blows people's minds that it's like, oh my God, like I can't believe it. But once you actually start using it, implementing, you're like, wait a second. So like my grandma just decided she wanted to go see Lyle Lovett, and she has an NFT ticket because that was the only way we could go see Lyle Lovett. So yeah, that's the way it's going to work. And that's how we're going to do this. And we're going to make sure that everybody under the sun is using it, because we will be one of the lowest priced taxes and fees for a ticketing service regardless. So even if you don't want to use it for NFTs, you're going to use it because it's cheaper. Like,
yeah. All right. I love you, man, but we gotta roll this.
I know. Leanne. I'll go.
We've got lots of updates going on just now. Obviously, our main thing is we are trying to push our multiplayer. Our first incarnation of multiplayer is going to be you and your friend blowing stuff up, because what's more fun than blowing stuff up yourself than doing it with your friends? We are pretty close on that, but I'm not going to lie, we've been distracted with making planets and stuff for some other projects, and there's a lot of work goes into that. You know, it's not just a case I make a planet and go, right, this is yours and that's it. We have lengthy discussions. What do you want? Do you want a planet? Do you want a spaceship? Do you want an asteroid? You know, and we design it with your colours, we do backgrounds. It probably takes about 10 days. Because, I mean, we're all devs and we're all connected to devs here, and we know devs are picky and we all like that specific thing for our project. So, yeah, it takes a bit of time. Then we add in some new enemies. And, for example, we have one that will go live tomorrow that I had to rein it in a bit because the level was killer. No one was getting by level 1 with the amount of enemies they had put in there. I'm like, no, we need to scale that back. But yeah, our multiplayer's that's our next big thing. And then after that, it'll be player versus player, you know, because as much as we like blowing up aliens, we love blowing up each other too. And that's definitely one of the things we're working on. It's a lot of work, obviously, goes into that, and I know gamers appreciate that. And right now, yeah, we're just working hard. And I, again, need to say big thanks to Chris, because he is pushing me everywhere and anywhere. And yeah, I've spoke to a lot of you guys, and you know the plans for the future, and you know what we're aiming to accomplish. And yeah, this is a great space, and I really do hope that everyone does succeed with the help from this space.
I literally felt bad when you said you were building planets all day. I was like, oh man, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, yeah. Listen, we love it. We absolutely love it. You know, that this is one of the creative things, and it's great to watch the process come together. It really is. And as I said, it's not just a class of here's your planet and it's a copy and paste of the last planet I've done. That's not what we're about. It's about making it yours. And you're going to see that in the next coming days, because as I said, yeah, we do have 2 ready. We'll just get a few finishing touches. And you'll get exactly what I mean. And a few of the projects I've been speaking to, I've said the same to. Yeah, check them out, and I'm sure you'll love them. Worldwide Crypto, I know you're going to be all over them. I know you're going to be over them. Can I just say, see, for EJ, for EverReflect, I really hope you come to the UK, because I want an NFT ticket of my favourite football match, a big European night, because we've all got a board with tickets of concerts and matches we've went to, and I would love NFTs in my football matches. I really would.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. And honestly, we need to talk more often anyways.
My community's forcing me to do like F1 racing or whatever. Like all the UKers are like, you have to do F1 racing for VR. If we can't watch F1 racing, we're all dumping our backs.
Yeah,
I'm
going to say they're probably English ones.
Yes.
Us Scottish aren't really into watching cars going around the track, but yeah, our English counterparts very much love that. That's not really a thing up here.
All right, Jeff, before you take the floor, I just now noticed Gabe's spelling of his name. Interesting. Jeff, what would you like to talk about?
No, so that was actually kind of an inside joke, because so he's an independent contractor. Like he works on a game as well, but it's more of like it's quite a few different games. I don't actually want to disclose it because it's not public information. But anyways, it's not associated with us in any way. And he was talking about basically forming a company. forming a company to represent his, independent contractor status is just like a way to, manage his finances and some other stuff. And so like we were coming up with names, and I was like, oh, you should just call it Gabe, but with a 6, like the wallet that's like getting all this stuff, because like whoever's wallet it is, they got a shit ton of money, right? And so it was really just meant as a joke. And so clearly he's embraced it. But as an aside, before I talk about my project, because my project really is like hinders on like the success of the people that are trusting us. And so like, from that perspective, like Kevin, the reason I was asking the questions around like how your utility works is like, obviously like we're going to be giving projects this opportunity to do this LP pool. And like, it'd be really cool to be able to at least inform them that like, there's a service out there, because I know you're focused on individual buyers right now, but really project LP pools can benefit just as much as an individual buyer or more, by being able to leverage taking a part of their LP pool, when they're in a stable place, and being able to put it into something that can be a hedge, so that if they need to dip into the LP in a down market. So I'd like to chat with you about that, because nothing I'm going to do on my side, but like, I'd love to at least potentially offer it as an option. I think it could be really cool. And then, EJ, as a potential like buyer and holder of your project, like the thing that gets me really excited about what you're doing has nothing to do with your ticket sales initially. It's really the secondary market, and like that secondary market transaction volume is where like things will completely explode, especially as you get more, like, as you know this, like we've talked about it, but like that's the thing that makes me really excited about your project, is like you can undercut the market the way that you're doing it now, and then really capitalize on that secondary market by being able to grab these big events. And so like, if I was looking at your project, recognizing that like the opportunity there, like that's the thing that gets me most excited. So I just wanted to say, like, really like what you're doing. And interestingly enough, like, I'm so glad that it's you doing it, because like, full disclosure, like when we went through like 3 iterations of ideas of utilities, and one of them was tickets. And like, although I did some consulting for a ticket company, like I don't know shit about the industry, just enough to kind of bullshit a little bit. And so like our idea was called Q, and I'm so glad we didn't do it. Like, I'm so glad you're doing
awesome.
it.
Thank you.
You know the industry, and like, and you have the connections, and I think it's super cool. But okay, so that being said, the thing I'm excited about beyond like what I already trying to chat about tonight is like, I really want to set up, like, I really want to embrace this UniteDeFi, mantra, and like, what I ultimately want to be able to build is like the Salesforce app exchange equivalent for DeFi. And so like, obviously, like I want us to be able to be a hub of like free services for projects. But at the end of the day, like I didn't go into this thing like arrogant. I know sometimes I probably come off as arrogant because I talk about like all the stuff that I want to do and like whatever. But at the end of the day, like I just want good projects to succeed, and like I want to be able to, people that are supporting me on this journey, be able to support them as well. And so like, that's probably what I'm most excited about, is finding opportunities to, have a preferred, ticket system, and have hedges against down markets, and have all these things where people can find trusted resources for solving their challenges in running a project, right? Like, have great devs like Chris, and have great community evangelists and community builders and people like Chase. And so I'm less excited about, I'm excited. Like, I'm getting 3 hours of sleep a night, so because I'm doing a lot of shit, but like, I'm most excited about like just working together, and like all of us together becoming the next titans on the chain. And that's the thing. That's why I'm fired up.
Nice. For MetaBusdCoin, I'll say that a lot of us, like a lot of my success, will come from the partnerships that I make and the partnerships that I form with all my other projects that I work with. I build infrastructure and allow other projects to use that infrastructure a lot of the same way Jeff does, and the way that he takes that approach. Building those relationships and having those revenue share agreements is what is my entire platform's built upon. And we have a lot of partners that are right around the service experience space. So what you're talking about, like DFS Mafia and playing their sports stuff. And then you talk about uh, Leanne with Meta Arcade. Those are really easy integrations. We recently signed on our first medical partner. So our first medical offerings into the metaverse through therapist appointments and having doctor consultations. We'll be building out a metaverse for a different team and a different project and having that revenue share with them. So I'm really excited about that right now. It's really early stages. It's going to take a lot of building out and a lot of time consumption for sure. But having that actually happen these days is insane. Like it really wasn't that long ago that was like an impossibility of forming these types of revenue share agreements between projects and saying, hey, let's just work together on this and do this together. I still approach projects to this day that decide for some reason or another not to. I don't know what that like, I don't know if they think they can do it better or if they just, they don't want the competition or something like that. But I still get projects that say, hey, I'd rather not. I'd rather focus on our own stuff for now and maybe talk to you later down the road. That's fine if that's the way they want to be. But through cooperation, we get more stuff done faster. It's just what it boils down to. And if you take just like that high level of greed out of it, I promise you'll make more money in this space. Like if you don't try to make $1 million every time and you just try to push things forward and try to make a little bit here and there, eventually you'll look back and you'll say, whoa, I'm making a little bit of money everywhere and I'm doing just fine. And that's my take on it. Again, that's probably my number one excitement moment for MetaBusdCoin right now as we just kind of closed that deal. It's not official yet. I leave most of my partnerships up to my partners to announce it. So like I'll let them announce something. I'm doing something this Friday with another project on their Twitter space. They will announce what we're doing, and then I'll say something about it afterwards. I want because usually it's a hype moment for their community because they're like joining the metaverse and stuff like that. So like that's their moment to be like, and guess what we're doing? And then my community is just used to it. They know that in one way or another I'm working with everybody. So it's only a matter of time. And I try to like I leave enough like open-ended hints to people that they can usually figure it out. Kevin, if he thought about it for a moment, probably would know who I'm talking about and be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I knew you were gonna partner with him eventually, douche. But that's all right. Worldwide crypto, man. How about you?
Sorry, I had to unmute. Man, I tell you what, I got two big things that I'm really excited about. First and foremost with WWC, we're constantly growing. We are have become the YouTuber for UniteDeFi and that whole movement and stuff. So and then along with that, we're constantly building relationships and partnerships. We just got our partnership with affiliate partnership with Docs, and we got another one coming up that's going to be announced here shortly. And pretty excited about that. We're growing, and I really believe in like with any of you guys' projects, I believe in natural growth rather than spending all of your like your marketing and stuff on just crazy, just outlandish advertising that really gets you nowhere. It gives you a couple short pumps, and then the candle's done kind of burnt out a little bit. You know what I mean? So natural growth over everything is awesome, and that works in our aspect as far as content creators and with projects, and it helps with longevity too, because you get quality people that actually stick around that care about it. And then the second thing is man, UniteDeFi, man. I can't tell you how sick I was of projects, these project devs and stuff just fighting with each other over getting a few more people added to their having them in their wallet and just fighting over customers and stuff. And it's just like, oh, my project's better than yours, man. It's at the end of the day, what you guys are doing, working together, because like I say, not only are you sharing your successes with each other, but you're sharing your failures, and you're learning along the way. And that's the big part of it is, as young as crypto is, and as few people that are actually in crypto in the world, you know what I'm saying, being this early in it and actually working together to achieve something better is a very beautiful thing. And I'm very, very excited to be a part of that right now, because the movement that I've been seeing the past few months, man, it's been awesome. Because every day I'm in a chat, I'm in a Discord, I'm in a Telegram, I'm on Red Wave, man. I'm seeing people saying, hey, I got this project, that I might be able to help you out, with something, with the issue that you're having. And it's many, many, many projects that are doing this, and they're shaking hands and not arguing, man. It's beautiful, and that's what I'm excited about.
Good answer. CryptoAtlas, the best for last.
Well, I'm primarily excited about two big things right now. One of which, from a crypto project perspective, it's with Drip Network, Forex Shark, and he's developing that. It's a project that exists on the Binance Smart Chain. For the last 2 months, one of his ecosystems that he created, which is called the Animal Farm, that's actually been down. And so that should be going up Thursday. And seeing that going up back live, Forex Shark has expressed himself very clearly recently that he's going to be putting a lot of the focus back on Drip. So everything does have a flow. Drip does play a role over here, but I've talked with Forex Shark. I've listened to him and other AMAs. The guy is a very brilliant man. And I'm just so excited to see what new things he's planning to do to actually further that forward. So, to see everything start to come back up, I think it's quite exciting. I've been following it now since January, and I've been in it since January. So we'll see what happens next with that. Besides that project, me personally, I do have something that I'm hoping within the next 2 to 3 weeks. That's the hope here. That's going to be officially live. And this whole idea with UniteDeFi, the project that I've been working on, will definitely pertain to that. Some people have speculated saying like, hey, are you making your token? You're making a token, aren't you? I'll clarify. No, I'm not making a token, but it's something that I think will add a lot of value. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in it for a lot of reasons. And people here know about a lot of the details, but I can't wait until I feel like I'm right at that point where enough stuff has been established and we're in that final stretch that's like, okay, I can go ahead and talk about it now because it's right around the corner. I don't want to do that just to play it safe, but I'm so excited. I've been working on this for months. I can't wait to actually reveal it to the community and to the public in general.
I can get Forex on. I've thought about it. Having Drip on, I've thought about it.
If you get him on, be prepared for a 3-hour live stream, not a 2-hour one.
I know that's actually a portion of why I haven't. That's actually a small part of the reason why I haven't. With like, in order to actually go through any of those projects like that, it just takes a long time to sit there and like parse it out and work through their economy and try to make sure everybody understands what's going on and how it works. But it would be an interest to talk. I think I might do like a spin-off series where I have like one-on-ones with projects and like just sit down and really go through like a project and how its economy works and give like explanations behind like, oh yeah, so I understand why that contract functions like that because you're really doing this, and try to like break down for like the general public, like, because all of this is the same. We're all moving value and locking value in different ways. It's a really cool experiment, and if it's explained the right way, everybody can understand it just a little bit better. I want to thank everybody who came on this evening. I mean, thank you for giving me 2 hours of your time, guys. Every single person here is extremely important and has obviously plenty of other things to do for 2 hours. So the fact that you took out your time, you came here to educate a community and each other on all of our individual projects and the space is just simply amazing. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for joining me this evening, and we will be back with another one next week.
Thanks for having us as always, Chris. Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Chris.